Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over a very fun game against the Scandinavian defense. That's right, e4, d5, black brings out the queen too early, but does get a very solid structure. So what do we do against this? In this game we're going to play it solid and go ahead and play for what's called a space advantage. Basically we just control more space and we try to push back our opponent and find any kind of weaknesses that we can to attack them. Well, here we go. Let's go and start with move 1 over here. In this game, I was playing the white side. I'm playing against a FIDE master rated 2046. Not a bad rating. And so I started up with e4. They went d5, the Scandinavian. Pawn takes on d5. Queen takes on d5. Knight c3 attacks the queen. And the queen goes to d6. This is definitely one of the solid responses here. I've seen queen to d8, which is definitely not a challenge. And then queen a5, one of my favorites when I do play Scandinavian. This is a little bit more aggressive and definitely gives black more attacking chances. But like I said, queen d6 is very solid, so what's wrong with this move? Well, like in all Scandinavians, you lose space. And what does that mean? We want to control more squares in the center. So that's why we go ahead and play pawn to d4 here. Black doesn't have any pawns there, so let's take it ourselves. And well, let's go ahead and continue developing our pieces. Black plays a good move, knight to f6. Here we go, knight f3, and black plays this interesting move at bishop g4. Typically, I don't like to allow this move, but sometimes I will. And one of the reasons why I allow it is because of growing space or making more space for my pieces. Here we play pawn to h3. And well, black plays the main move, which is bishop h5. Most people will not give up the bishop so fast. If they do give up the bishop, just know that, well, you should have a decent little game here. After queen takes on f3, you have the bishop pair, which means you already have a slight plus. And, well, if black just plays mundane with, like, let's say pawn c6, here you have a very nice idea, bishop f4. If black goes snack attacking here on d4, here you have the brilliant move of knight to b5. And, well, you're going to be in a very good position now. Obviously, taking here will only lead to pain after bishop takes on b5 here. Oof. And this is definitely going to be a good position here for white. With that being said, black went ahead and did play the main move here, bishop h5. And this is what I mean by controlling space. In these games, when I'm playing white against the Scandinavian, I typically like to castle queenside. So this allows me to grab space on the king side. So I go ahead and play pawn to g4. I'm not going to be castling that way anyway, so let's control some more squares. Here the bishop goes back to g6. The bishop is on a decent diagonal over here. And here, one of the main ideas is for white to play bishop f4, but hey, queen would just snack attack. So here we play a very nice idea worth remembering. Here we get to play knight to e5. Whole idea, we want to play bishop f4, and you get a discovery against the queen. And also if you want to, maybe you can even snack attack and just take this bishop over here. Here, black played knight to d7, makes sense. And here, well, I didn't like taking this bishop right away. I like development. I played bishop to f4. And here I already have a threat to win some material. Simple chess. Let's say black wasn't paying attention and play something like a6. Remember this tactic? Here you have knight takes on g6. And here we see that the knight's attacking the rook, the bishop's attacking the queen, and the knight is defending the bishop. So here white is just in a winning position. Of course, our 2400 rated opponent is not going to let that slide. Here they, of course, saw the threat and just went ahead and traded. And here, well, I play bishop takes back. I don't like to trade off the queens, at least not so early without having some kind of advantage. My opponent played one of the main moves, queen to b4. Here the queen just puts pressure on the b2 pawn. And just like last time, we're okay with losing a pawn or two if we can get some kind of attack for it. So here I went ahead and just played queen to d2. And black played pawn c6. Again, they don't want to take our material. Why? If they do take on b2, believe it or not, white is just getting a very good position. Rook b1, if they snack attack again on c2, you just trade queens, bishop takes, rook takes, and all of a sudden white has a very strong attack, even though you just have the minor pieces on the board. Bishop b5 is check is a huge threat. Rook takes on c7, even knight b5. Here white is just happy and is in a good spot for a good endgame. Anyways, back to the main game. Black did not want any of this heat, so they went ahead and played pawn c6. And here, castling is a good move. Unfortunately, here I did not play that move. I went ahead and said, you know what? Let's play bishop d3. I want to try and get this bishop off the board. This bishop was very annoying to me. And black went ahead and castled. Of course, they are more than welcome to go ahead and take on b2 again. But just like last time, there's going to be a lot of attacking chances. The reason why they don't like queenside castling here is, believe it or not, this king is actually very vulnerable as the bishop is taking away lots of the squares. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get a force-winning position here, but it is very annoying. All right, here we go. At this point, I went ahead and played bishop takes on g6 here. And, well, I like this move because it's going to go ahead and give double pawns here. But I'm also trying to eye this f7 pawn over here. How is that? Well, after pawn takes, we now see that knight takes g4 is the main threat since there's a little pin right here. So, of course, we're just going to go ahead and castle. Here, black played pawn to e6, and like I said, when you're looking against playing this against the Scandinavian, you gotta find the weak pawns. In this case, it's the f7 pawn. So here I played a very standard move, queen to f4, with the simple threat of playing g5 to try to attack and win this pawn. I also have a nice little double threat here, as bishop takes on f6 is also an idea. And, well, unfortunately for my opponent, they did miss this idea and played bishop to e7. And, well, now it's just white to move. Let's go ahead and play g5 and kick them. Knight move to d5. And now, well, we're just going to win some material. Knight takes on d5, of course. Rook takes and queen takes. Now here, they didn't like this move as much. Instead, they would much more prefer just pawn to a3 right here, kicking the queen first. And then we get to look about taking on f7, which would have been a decent idea here too. But in the game, I actually make a little bit more of a blunder than just kicking the queen away. I took on f7, they took on g5 check, pawn to f4, gaining some space, kicking the bishop away. The bishop went back to e7, and it is now white to move. I did miss this because I saw all these free, juicy pawns. It's white to move and win. What do you play here? All right, if you haven't already, go and give us that like and subscribe. Remember, liking this video is going to share this with more chess players and grow the channel. All right, were you able to find that idea? At this point, I saw all these juicy pawns around here, and I went ahead and took on e6, which is okay. But for those of you who are a little bit more astute and see that there's tactics afoot, here this bishop is only being defended by the queen. So what's the best move here? Here you play pawn a3, and now it is black who is looking very, very sad here, as they're going to have to move the queen away, and we're just going to be up an extra piece here for free. Like I said, I was a little too anxious here, and after they played bishop e7, I said free pawn. I took on queen takes on e6 check. Rook to d7, the correct move. Now a3 won't do anything because, well, the rook is now defending. That's okay. I like pawns, so let's go ahead and eat some more. Bishop takes on g7. Rook over to e8. An interesting move. The rook is definitely defending or maybe thinking about some type of discoveries, but that's okay. Bishop just back to e5. The rook is unprotected for now. The rook went to d8. And now you see that the rooks are really just trying to put pressure on the d4 pawn. That's okay with me. Queen takes on g6. This not only wins a pawn, but is also going to give us a pass pawn. Again, just play nice and simple here. There's nothing crazy we should be doing in this kind of position. Here my opponent played queen a4, simply putting pressure on a2 pawn. What do you play? Simple chess. We're going to play king over to b1. Black played bishop d6, where actually is a little bit of a threat now. As you can see, after bishop takes, there's a pin against the rook. There's also ideas about maybe just taking the d4 pawn if you take back the wrong way. So here, I went ahead and played queen to f5. The idea, very simple. I'm trying to put pressure or put a pin against this rook so they can't take back. King c7 got played. Pawn to h4. And here they took. Now here I do have to take back the right way. As I said, you don't want to look embarrassed here and play. D takes on e5, as you could just get checkmated here on d1. So here this forced me to go ahead and take back. I went ahead and played. Queen takes on e5 check, which also defends the pawn. The king went back to c8. And now, well, you're more than welcome to start pushing pawns forward. But here I always like the idea. It's always a good idea to make an escape square for your king, so no back rank checkmates. So I played pawn to b3. Queen over to a3. And then I played pawn c3. And here, I don't have to worry about the d4 pawn anymore. I'm letting my opponent know that, well, there's nothing big that's going to happen in these kind of positions. I'm just going to play this nice and solid. Here, my opponent, they pretty much were ready to resign at this point. I'm just up, 3 extra pawns over here for no good reason. So they just went ahead and played too fast. I played queen a5. And, well, I think you know the move here. Here, I just snack attack, and they immediately resigned. It's not that crazy. Either they did that on purpose or they just weren't paying attention because they were already in a bad position. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This was all about the idea of whenever they take on d5 in the Scandinavian queen to d6, try to grab more space and push your opponent back nice and slow. Don't play anything crazy. You have to find the weaknesses, which can be hard against these pinchers with e6 and c6. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next video.